Oh! There's an E up there. Okay, it's pointless. Is it actually maybe it's just an excuse to
Door.
It's an excuse to get rid of this. That's the point of it. That's the point of having the E there. And it gives me a 1-2 even. Oh my goodness. Fantastic.
An oil drum hung. It's a key. The hands indicate.
You have less than 2 minutes. Hurry!
Okay.
Less than 1
I
minute.
doubt
Hurry!
getting
An
shocked
iron.
is going to fucking help me. Does that line up? No, that doesn't really line up. Well, it's...
An iron.
Okay, first. Clearly in this, I don't think lifting is gonna help. We haven't been able to lift jack shit. What's that connected to? Is that going to the next area?
An iron.
Well, I have 2 of these. So I don't think lifting is going to help. Tackling, maybe I have it fall down and disrupt something to cause it to do something. Climb up, maybe there's another area up there, but it's 9999. Either way, I could check both technically.
Ready?
That's not the direction I was intending, but okay. It's doing something. Oh, we need fuel for the fire.
Whoa!
Oh, how nice. That is fantastic.
This somnium is awfully dangerous.
Hey, that door. Maybe we can open that one now. Check it out.
There's so much knowledge that she has. Could I go check that door 0 again? Why was that there? Huh. Can I just look at the cord
A power
still?
cord.
Yes, I could technically.
A rusted metal door.
Sure.
I'm going to open it.
This is Oda, presumably? Nope, so. Oda doesn't even matter. Got it. Well, if it's door 0, then maybe that had to do with the original Cyclops killings? Music's fading. That didn't feel like it achieved much of anything, did it? So we know she was the one there.
That's... Iba, return to the control room on the 3rd floor.
At once!
She's showing up in one of them, but not any of the others? Does that imply that, it's not hers? Is it just a string of people killing the next one in line? For their own... It was Oh my goodness. Who kills boss then? Is it someone like jumping bodies and then blaming the next person? Is that it maybe?
What the hell is going on?
That would imply that that would imply that Renju is the one. Switch to Hitomi next, maybe? Wait, is that the...
Tate, what are you doing? 6 minutes are up!
Wait, is that the sync room?
Hitomi is...
Tate, you can't go any longer! Force shutdown!
No!
They can do that? Why didn't they do it last time when they really wanted to? When we had that problem with Oda. That looked like the sync... Well, no, that looked like the one at the warehouse. That looked like the one at the warehouse. Also, wasn't that door 0? Not like door 5? Huh. Also, Echoes of a Murder. Thanks, guys, for the reference. I appreciate it. I am the Echo. Interesting.
I took a look around your head,
Yeah.
and I discovered something. Something about the new CYCLOPS serial killings. Apart from Ota, there are 4 victims.
Oda was an accident.
Shoko Nadami,
More ways than one.
Renju Okiura, Iris Sagan, and So Tsujima. Who was responsible for these murders? Shoko was stabbed by Renju with an ice pick. Renju was strangled to death by Iris. So cut open Iris's body. But who shot So? It was you. In other words, all of these murders were committed by different people. There wasn't just one killer. That's how it looks on the surface, anyway. But that's not the truth, is it? There's only one culprit. One person.
But how would she know? Unless it was the same person jumping bodies.
And that person is...
Hitomi! Why give me the choice? Why give me the choice if it's the obvious one? And none of them that are out of left field. Okay. So, let's think about this in some ways. What could be a situation where information that was had by a person so I'm assuming, maybe, possibly, someone's jumping fucking bodies. Shoko's the original one killed. Shoko went to visit number 89, didn't she? In the hospital. Isn't that a whole thing? So what if it's number 89 jumping between them? So what I was thinking... Okay, so... If we're under that assumption... We never heard anything from Shoko, so we don't know shit about what she was acting like when she potentially had someone else in her body at that time. Oh, and that could explain why number 89 was, like, with Renju. Wait, no. Because if that was the case, then number 89 would have had to have been in Renju's body at that point? Wait, that would have been... So that would have been number 89 and Shoko, like, as people? No. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. So when, like, number 89 and Renju were off doing who knows what, that would have had to have been those two, right? If my weird speculation here is correct, when they were off doing stuff, it was Shoku in number 89 body and number 89 body in Renju's body. And we eventually showed up and we found Renju dead. And who showed up? Number 89. Which means number 89 might have switched back to his previous body. Okay, so my assumption is that it's number 89. Okay. The little stuff that we've got... The little things we've seen from Renju during this time frame. He's been acting very weirdly. He hasn't gone back and done anything with Mizuki during the time frame. He has a relation with number 89, which is completely unexplained. In any capacity except maybe a connection to the Yamaguras? What else? He's trying to contact Iris constantly, which you could say might be connected more so towards trying to get a different body. But why would you jump bodies and just keep killing? For the sake of it? For the sake of trying to hide it? Maybe you just thought it was like a really good way to try to hide it? The fact that the Renju body shows up later as dead in that other round does imply that they weren't necessarily on good terms? Maybe? Maybe. But okay. So the assumption is that in this route, when Renju died, Iris would have been number 89, yeah? So if you took number 89, and that could explain a lot of the actions there. Like... It's interesting because it's like, she wasn't like not acting like Iris, but she didn't do any like really Iris-y things. Like her tone of voice and stuff like that, she still sounded like Iris, and some of like the voice acting and stuff sounded like Iris. It's not like it sounded like someone else who just had the same voice. But action-wise, she didn't really do anything Iris-y. So if we take this to the logical conclusion... In this one, you go from... Okay, so you have the polar bear stuff happen. And presumably they would have switched bodies, and the split happens when there's a failure to kill the previous host. Yeah? When they go and do the circular blade stuff. But you're in So's body for both of these, right? Iris is still alive, technically, and all that sort of stuff. But wouldn't that mean... That would imply that in that route, the person that was in Iris's body was So. Right? And in the time where we went and, like, attacked So's mansion and whatnot, that would have been number 89 in there. And number 89, if my speculation about the previous stuff with Date being the body of the original Cyclops killer, and all the memories going over to one side, except for maybe, like, little bits and pieces here, that's why he gets those, like, flashbacks at times. Of both their lives, basically. All the memories going over there, you'd remember that. It's like, oh, the irony of being killed by your own son. Outside of that, I don't think we saw any behavior, like, bar the killing stuff, that seemed completely outside of So's wheelhouse, at the very least. And then, what would the safest position be? Oh, why would you... Why... Why would you jump to boss at that point? Maybe it was all an excuse to get close enough... Okay, maybe the idea is... Hey, you switch with Shoko. Great, you can get close to Renju. Renju can get close to Iris. And Iris, because of her looks in her relation to So, can get close to So and then kill him. Maybe he wanted to kill So or something like that. And then you switch the boss because it's safer that way. And hope that's not caught, but whoever did it recorded it. So maybe there was... But they tried to frame Date, so... Oh my goodness. I think this makes sense, but there's still stuff that's not adding up, at the very least. I think that might be it, though. I feel like I'm on the right trail, at the very least. None of these make any sense. It's Iris. It's not Iris. Pewter. It's not Pewter. It's So. No, it isn't. What about Shoko? It could be, but... I suppose if we remove all that... I mean, where's number 89? Oda! Definitely Oda! Oda was collateral damage. He can't be the culprit. Oda was an accident in every single way you can imagine it. It's you! I was hoping number 89 would show.
Yes. You. The person in front of me right now.
Well, we didn't say boss at the very least. We didn't, did we?
You're blaming the commander of ABIS for this?
No, not boss. The person inside boss's head.
Can you at least try to make sense?
I mean, it's pretty strong in terms of, evidence that, you wouldn't know about the other people killing them. We physically have proof that you were... If you were not the polar bear, you were... I suppose you could have been at the, warehouse for a little bit. You could have seen any of the other ones, too, technically. Nah, I suppose you could be aware of those, but...
Alright, I'll explain. You know about the abandoned chemical plant in Kawasaki?
There we go.
There's a prototype sync machine there.
Wait, how do I know that?
You use that device to swap around bodies one by one.
Oh! We're just gonna jump into this right now? That's a big jump. Okay. Wait, was I expected to get this before? Shoot. Am I late on this? Am I late on this? Did I get it just in time?
In other words, the entire egg ends up being replaced.
Also, we didn't hear this in this round. Are we remembering things from other routes?
Mind, consciousness, memory, they are traded. Switched.
I don't know where it started, but at some point, you got into Shoko's brain. Then, you got into Renju's. And got rid of Shoko's body. After Renju was Iris. You strangled Renju using Iris. After that, into So. Who you used to kill Iris and Ota at the cold storage warehouse. Now, you're in Boss's body, inside her head.
Wait. If it was number 89, then how did number 89 know that stuff about the detective stuff? No, it couldn't be... I don't know where the starting point is then. Huh. Because it can't be number 89. Number 89 knew all that stuff about the... Like, knew all that stuff about the detective stuff.
If you know that much, then I have nothing left to hide.
Do you now?
Yes. I am the culprit behind the new Cyclops serial killings. I guess you can call me the new Cyclops killer.
Da-da-da! So Boss is dead and so is Body, basically. Oh, that's That's so disturbing to see you using her body at the moment. Yeah, who was inside Iris during the interrogation?
That was me.
Yeah, I thought it might be.
You imitate her well. From the way you talked and your body language, it was like the real Iris. Earlier, too, you almost had me fooled.
That means Iris was dead too at that point. Oh! Every single bit of information, every single scene, every single little bit of anything where we talked with someone in this route and we thought it was someone else and it's just that same person and they were already dead. Oh, that's a morbid thought.
Your imitation of Boss was perfect.
Yes, there's a reason for that. Let me define some terms first. A person's memory and sense of self. Let's call that personality. It isn't quite the right word, but it'll suffice. Now, transferring that personality into someone else's brain, let's call that parasitism. The one transferring is the parasite, the one being transferred into is the host. Are you with me so far? Moving on. Even after the personality exchange is complete, the host's memory isn't completely lost. About 1% remains in the brain. So, a parasite could use that 1% to imitate the language and behavior of the host. That's how I knew about the warehouse and Sunfish Pocket, by the way. Thanks to Renju and Iris's remaining memories.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a nice bow on that I didn't really think of. Oh, I just asked this.
I'm telling you, it was me. Why are you making me repeat myself?
Because it's an option still?
That means the Somnium I entered on Sunday.
That's right. It was me.
How? How does he know about the original Cyclops killer? Because he was the original Cyclops. And something else was troubling me.
What's going on here?
Okay. Could they have just removed one set of personality? Oh. Okay, so if the idea that some memories could be left over, maybe it's this. What's left over, potentially, is like really important stuff. So maybe Shoku went into number 89's body, and maybe number 89 was just straight up the original Cyclops killer, and eventually the rest of those memories just... And all that was left over was the detective memories, that sort of thing. That doesn't explain why Date didn't have any memories, though. Because that was my explanation, that both got put in that body. Even though there wasn't... I suppose they were saying there wasn't room for two. What would happen if you were, like, left with two? If you were just, like, in the middle of the process? They said there wasn't room. Maybe it gets suppressed, maybe it gets deleted. And that leaves just fragments. And maybe Shoku got put in that body. Maybe that's why So called Shoko's phone, because number 89 called him and was like, hey, guess what happened with your sort of son in here? Yeah. And then proceeded to be like, you should call this number, because that's a number I have, because she knew that number, right? So if you have a little bit of memories left over, and that's great for writing, I gotta add. If there's just enough memories left over to basically just explain whatever the fuck you want from a writing perspective. So you could have that left, and that might be enough to tell that story. Maybe. Especially if it was enough for the Sunfish Pocket stuff. And stuff like that. So it might have been enough to tell that story. That might have been Shoko at that point. And number 89 is here, potentially without the memories of the detective anymore. At all. And that detective's long gone, basically. Memory-wise. Fine. Give me the details of each crime.
Before I do, there's something I want to hear from you. How did you know about the prototype sync machine?
Good question. A very good question.
And not only that, you also seem to know what the sync machine is truly capable of. Why is that?
That's...
When was I told that? I was told that before Hitomi's, which was in a route where that definitely was the original boss, right?
Regaining your memories, are you? Human memory is fractal. If you retain even a single piece of it, it's possible to recreate the whole thing. Pieces of memories are like roots that grow into every corner of the brain.
Interesting. So are you saying that my life before I lost my memory is coming back to me?
Gradually, slowly, taking its time.
Like bits of information I would have been aware of beforehand, but weren't now, and I just happened to learn in the other routes.
I imagine the same thing is happening in your brain right now.
A fractal is a figure with self-similarity. Allow me to explain. See this? Whichever fragment you cut, you will see a similar shape. The whole is made up of its similar parts. This is called a fractal figure. Memories in the brain are similar. That is what he is explaining. He is claiming that from a few pieces, you can rebuild the memory.
Also, them using he, I think in Japanese they don't have pronouns, gender-specific pronouns, or at the very least they can have speech that doesn't really require it nearly as much. Then again, they could just be saying they and whatnot. That's not exactly some looked down upon grammar to the point that they could have just been like they instead of he. I knew about the prototype from regaining my memory. Is that right? So, whichever fragment you cut, you'll see similar pattern in the shape. The whole is made up of similar parts. It's called a fractal figure. Memories in the brain are similar. This is what he's explaining. He's claiming that from a few pieces you can rebuild the memory. I'm doubtful of that really being true, but it makes sense for this. No, that's not it.
Parallel worlds exist.
Oh no. We were so down to earth. That was like such a potentially good explanation for it without like delving into like the supernatural and stuff. Well, beyond like this other. It's fine, and it would be. It's just such a grounded story. I don't want that in here. Not that I don't dislike it. It just, if it was set up as that sort of story from the beginning, that would have been fine. But it really hasn't. Oh boy. But the fact that he remembers that means he's remembering. Yeah. Who the hell are you?
Saito Sajima.
Hi.
Congressman Sajima's son.
What?
I researched Saito thoroughly, but I cannot find any images of him on the internet. He is listed on the family register, but I cannot find any photographs.
Interesting.
Fine. I still have time.
Time?
Before what?
You'll see.
Time before what?
So, where do you want me to start?
It's just past midnight on Tuesday. Shoko was killed on Friday. I wonder if the intent is to get back to this body. If we think of that as day 1, today's day 5. What was Saito doing during these days? I decided to ask him. Okay. Might as well go in order.
Like you guessed, my personality was in Shoko, Renju's ex-wife. That made calling Renju easy. I need to talk to you about something. He came over without question. I think it was around 4 p.m. I had him meet me at the chemical plant. I made Renju go to sleep. Synced, switched personalities, and then stabbed Shoko's discarded body with an ice pick.
Why take the eye?
I took Shoko to Bloom Park by car.
But why take the eye? That wasn't even your thing to begin with. What, nostalgia?
Using the old abandoned subway line. Must have been around 8 p.m. by the time I was finished. I tied up Shoko to one of the merry-go-round horses. After that, I used Renju's phone to send a Nile message to Mizuki.
Mizuki, Daddy got caught up in something serious. Please come to so-and-so.
Then, I just waited for Mizuki to arrive.
Fine.
Until next Saturday evening, my personality was inside Renju. My next target was Iris. I knew she would be suspicious if I asked her to come to Kawasaki, so I asked her to come to Sunfish Pocket first. I called her a little before 5 p.m., and she arrived just after 6. I greeted her, then convinced her to come with me. That's when Ota saw us. Anyway, I put her in the car, then headed to the chemical plant. On the way, I made her take a sleeping pill. I knew she might run once she saw where we were going.
Yay.
It was around 7 p.m. when I got there, and I wasted no time switching bodies.
Okay. So the main difference between the two routes and this not happening would have been the car crash then, yeah? This original... Iris was still called out and met with Renju, but they never had the opportunity to do something like give a sleeping pill, so she did run away.
After getting Iris's body, I used a rolled-up apron to strangle Renju to death. Then I put his body in an empty oil drum I'd prepared earlier. I put that in the trunk of the car, then headed to Sunfish Pocket. But then, something I didn't anticipate happened. Waiting for the signal in Akiba, someone knocked on the window of the car. It was Ota. He asked me something about being able to drive. He was surprised, to say the least. I didn't have time to waste on him. But I couldn't risk him finding the oil drum in the trunk. Plus, if word got around that Renju's car was spotted driving around Akiba, that would foil my plans. So, I came up with a lie. I told him that I didn't have a license, so he had to keep it a secret.
Also to note, she's doing a really good job voice acting this.
That's what that thing referred to in Ota's Nile messages, by the way. And just like that, I managed to escape a bad situation and headed to Sunfish Pocket as planned. The rest went exactly as you already figured out.
How did you get with... So... I get the relation, but... I guess all my badgering would have made him much more distinctly aware of Iris.
Sunday morning, I had a recording or some such thing scheduled. Oh, I am, of course, referring to Iris. I didn't want to draw suspicion, so I decided to attend, as planned. I went to Lemniscate and performed my job. And when I left, I ran into you, Date.
Sounds... How exactly did that day go?
To be honest, I was a little surprised. Just the previous night, I was a parasite in the body of Renju. I didn't think Ota had seen me. So, of course, I didn't expect to see you there so soon. You were on to me, but there was nothing I could do about that. If I ran, it would only increase your suspicion. So I decided to play my role. The interrogation began around 8:20 p.m., is that right? Then you synced into my mind. But you didn't get what you were looking for. did you? As a result, you had no choice but to release me. I didn't want to go home right away. I knew there might be police waiting for me.
I guess, like, the drawings and stuff that was in the mine. Maybe not that one, but the other one. Those were fragments then? Likely? How she was phrasing them before?
That would make it difficult to sneak out at night. And that would put my plan in jeopardy. So I asked you to take me to Marble. I tried to find an opportunity to run, but then another unexpected event occurred.
It was so weird.
I got a Nile message from Ota. I knew I could use him. So I told him I needed his help and to meet me at Marble. He did as I instructed him to do. After that, I got into the van with Ota. But because his presence was unnecessary, I asked him to stop at a convenience store to buy me something to drink. When he was gone, I took his car and drove to my parents' house where I used to live.
Okay.
Yes, the Sajima residence.
Yeah, that explains all that. Okay. That makes sense. I didn't really remember the,
Of course, I knew I couldn't just walk up and ring the doorbell.
I didn't really remember the taxi driver's story all that well. That's just one of the things that hasn't stuck in my mind all that effectively.
Hello, Father. It's been a long time. I was also in Iris's body at the time.
Which, you made it true.
But I thought I could use that to my advantage.
She's your sister, technically. Did you not realize that? You killed the mother, too. Did you realize it?
So I pushed on the intercom, and sure enough, my dad invited me inside. I told him this. I want you to come with me. There's something I need to show you. He was quiet for a while, but eventually agreed, and got into the van with me.
All alone. Isn't he daring?
We arrived at the prototype sync machine around 11:50 p.m. By the time I was in the body of Sosajima, it was a new day.
So wait, were their eyes out just because you had to use the sync machine on one side? Wait, is that why their eyes had been taken out? But wouldn't that mean that both sides needed their eyes taken out in order to use the prototype sync machine? Am I remember? Because I know Iris had to have her eye taken out. And I figured Date didn't because he already had his eye taken out. Does only one side actually need to... Why would only one side... Question for later. Question for later. Day 4.
There isn't much to talk about on Monday.
Really? So there's nothing to talk about in terms of switching out of that body and killing that one. Why you in Boss's body? Or was that yesterday?
Before noon, I used my old man's body to call this one Boss. You might not know this, but she and my father go back about 6 years. The two shared a terrible secret. Hinting at that was enough to get the boss to come running to me immediately.
Okay. Other endings. Which one did we find So killed?
I injected her with a sedative.
Which one did we find So killed? That was... That was the Oda one, right? Man, there's so much left undone in that one.
Then brought her body to the chemical plant.
Presumably we killed this person?
I synced with her, exchanged our bodies.
When we killed So in the Mizuki one?
And after blowing my father's brains out, I cut his body into pieces.
And recorded it for some reason.
I stuffed the meat into a vase I'd brought earlier, then drove back to my house.
Where'd you get the vase? Okay. And what are you planning next?
This was yesterday, early Monday morning, past midnight. In my new body, I drugged Iris, put her in the van, and drove to a new location.
Wait, what? Oh, why would you have continue? Is that not... My bad, guys. I thought it was continue for the entire thing rather than continue that specific one.
Okiura Fishery Cold Storage Warehouse.
My bad. Well, not really, but fuck.
I arrived around 1, then prepared for the show for a couple hours. Of course, when I say show, I mean dismembering Iris. Because of the temperature in the warehouse, it took longer than I expected to prepare, but... Well, you saw it in the video. Of course, I didn't anticipate Ota would show up. What does that make it? 3 times that brat has showed up unexpectedly? That annoyed me to no end, and I took that out on him. Dressing him up in the polar bear was an impromptu plan on my part. I didn't mean to make you think he was the killer. I just wanted to throw a wrench into the investigation. Didn't matter if you found out or not. This all happened Monday morning. I left the warehouse around 3:30 a.m.
Okay, now continue. On one of them. Day 1, right? We're gonna continue day 1 story, right? God damn it, game. Saito spoke with grace and no signs of remorse. I was trying to keep my anger from boiling over and kept asking him questions. Why did you take out the victim's eyes? Is it really just the sinking things? Why is it only one of you if that's the case?
You know all about the prototype sync machine, don't you? That should explain it.
I knew. The prototype sync machine differed from the ones at ABIS in a few keyways. The machine at ABIS is more sophisticated. Nanocables from the sync gear enter through the gap between the eyeball and the socket. They travel down the optical nerve canal to the brain. But the prototype isn't so advanced. To perform a sync, you need to remove the left eye, but why aren't the other people's eyes missing too, manually? The subject and the sinker have to remove their eye from the socket, it's even saying right there! Otherwise the cables cannot enter the brain. Of course, even with the eye removed, severing the connection to the brain isn't necessary. Oh, so you can remove it and put it back in, basically. Why didn't you do that then? The extracted eyeball still had optic nerve and blood vessels connected. After seeing it, the eye is supposed to be replaced back into the brain, back into the socket. It's supposed to be safe, side effects are rare. Unless the nerve and blood vessels are damaged somehow, replacing the eyeball isn't too difficult. Why didn't you replace them? Why did you lead us on that?
Of course, I don't really care about eyes. I don't need them.
So?
All I cared about was exchanging bodies with the sync.
You led us on a trail that probably gave us more information by doing this.
And for that, I needed to remove the left eye.
Technically, no. You could have put it back in. You didn't actually need to.
Why didn't you just put the eyes back when you were done?
That's obvious. Once I was finished transferring into a new body, the old one was of no concern to me.
So you're an idiot. There is... Let's see. Did we actually get new information? New leads, new ideas? The connection to the old Cyclops killing itself is a lead in a sense. Especially if you are Saito.
Why would I bother replacing the eye? I was just going to get rid of it anyway.
Where are they? Just threw them away?
Shoko's is in Renju.
Ugh.
Renju's is in Iris. Iris's is in Dad.
Did you eat them?
Dad's is in Boss.
Did you eat them?
Their stomachs, I mean.
You sick bastard.
Yes, I ate them. Immediately after exchanging personalities.
How horrible.
Why? Why? Why did you display the bodies?
To harass you.
Me, specifically? Is the intent to get me, eventually?
I wanted to bring out the hatred in you. That's why I called Mizuki to Bloom Park. That's why I streamed Iris's murder. Because they were important to you, weren't they? I wanted you to feel cornered, trapped. I wanted to punish you, Kaname Date.
Okay, this doesn't answer what is the real, true, ultimate question that no one's asking. Where did you get the polar bear costume? Where did you have time and effort to go grab a polar bear costume? It wasn't part of your story. You didn't bring it with you. Actually, I don't think it was part of her story. No, that's too far back. Whatever. Why didn't they resist after waking? Just killed them too quickly?
Ah, the prototype sync machine has a special feature. It administers a strong dose of sedatives to the original body, and a stimulant to the host after a sync. That kept them docile.
Why? Wait, why can you choose, like, either or? Because it doesn't make sense that it would do one to one and the other to the other. Why would you...
Homicide is my hobby. I have a tenacity for it, what can I say? Of course, it was also necessary to make sure people kept their mouths shut. If I took over someone's body, they would know about my crimes. I couldn't risk them reporting me, so I killed them. It was also a matter of revenge. Against you. It's personal. That's why I chose people close to you as targets. Well, except for my father, of course.
Technically.
That was personal to me. But don't ask. It's embarrassing.
I'll ask. I'll ask all the stuff.
This series of murders was like a journey for me. You know, traveling through bodies to finally reach the end. That's the thing about traveling. You always wind up in the same place, don't you? Where do you think that is? Your home. A trip is only complete once you return home. The same goes for me. When I return home, my travels will come to an end. So I'll be needing it back. My body.
What?
You stole my body. You took it from me 6 years ago. That's why I want revenge.
What are you talking about?
You have no idea what it was like inside my own head. I miss it. I miss my brain, Date. No matter how many people I killed, it never worked. I never felt happy. I feel miserable.
You mean?
He was born with a brain dysfunction.
Yep.
Due to damage to the posterior pituitary gland, he was unable to properly secrete oxytocin.
Got this one.
Oh, that's right. My old body. How are you finding it, Date? That's what I've been telling you!
But I don't have the same oxytocin deficiency you did.
That is because I regularly supplement it.
So you're fucking aware. Okay, yeah. Not a big stretch.
They must have increased your dosage too much.
No, but the person who had this disorder was number 89, the original Cyclops killer.
That is what I believed as well. But we must have misunderstood.
Wait, why did you administer? You couldn't put one and one together with that.
Pewter did not specify who exactly was imprisoned. Only that one of the original culprits responsible was currently in prison.
That's strange. That would mean number 89 is the previous chairman, Rohan.
No.
That must be it.
What?
Rohan is a parasite inside number 89's brain. Pewter must have known that.
No way.
Wait, what? Wait. Wait.
Let us determine the specifics using Saito as our starting point. Whose brain was he in before Boss?
Wait. How was that? No? What? It has to involve that detective. 89 has to be Uncle. Has to be the detective in the story, right?
So Sejima.
And before So?
Iris.
Iris. And before that, Renju. And before that, Shoko.
And before Shoko?
I was a parasite inside Rohan's brain 6 years ago until last year. I'd lost most of my memories. I was a shell of a man. They housed me in a special hospital.
So did you switch what? Did you switch bodies with Rohan at some point?
But I still had those fragments of my mind left.
Huh. So when his mind got all fucked up in that story way back when, that was you switching into him then?
Just as I explained earlier. From a single piece, you can recreate the whole. I took my time, slowly regaining my memories. 1 year ago, I remembered everything. I left the hospital and immediately sought out Shoko Nadami.
Was it a year ago that he died? I thought it was earlier.
I got her body, and she was in Rohan's.
And that's when this...
When she saw herself in the mirror, she lost her mind. She was confused, panicking, running up the emergency staircase, and then...
Yeah,
That's why Rohan committed suicide.
Yeah, she was not very mentally stable from everything I've seen of her.
After that, I spent a year perfecting my plan, using Shoko's body. I spied on you all this time. That's why I know everything about you.
See, and you went to visit Rohan in prison. Who were you before Rohan?
In there, in that body you are operating right now, in that skull, my personality lived there.
Wait, why is Rohan in the detective's body then?
Wait, hold on. If what you're saying is true, what about my personality?
It was in Rohan.
I'm not Rohan!
Correct. It is just as he explained earlier. Number 89 was in Rohan's body. In other words...
That's... Am I real?
So are we saying the personality completely switched over? Fine, whatever. Why did he lose all his memories then? Oh, is it, is that what we're saying when you originally switch over, you're just a parasite there? Wait. And the memories reformed, basically? Is that what we're saying? The reason he didn't have memories is the same reason Saito didn't have in Rohan? Is that what we're saying? That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like, at least. Okay. I think I got it right, bar maybe a step there. Iris and Tommy and keep talking.
Sorry, but time's up. I want my body back. It's quite simple. Sync with me and stay inside my mind for more than 6 minutes.
And if I refuse?
I know that you won't. I know it.
Huh?
Date, look! This is streaming live!
Wait, what's streaming live? Fantastic.
Damn you!
If you give me back my body, I will give you the location. Oh, and of course, it isn't the chemical plant in the Kawasaki district.
Iba, where's the source?
It is being routed through numerous IPs. I cannot identify the source.
Computer, contact headquarters, now!
Got it!
Now, what will you do? Will you agree to my request?
Well, that seems like a great place to end it for today. See you all next time. Drive safely, everyone. And hello and welcome back to the Somnium Files. Last time, we learned basically everything. Choices, choices, choices. Fuck. I haven't even thought about what I'd choose. I literally just saw like, oh my goodness, that would make for a cliffhanger, and went straight into it last time. So today, I'm going to try to finish the game because I'm not sure how much is left, but it fucking feels like we're right near the ending, or we're getting close to an ending. If there are more twists and turns to all this than what we got here, I have no idea what they might be. I don't know. I'm leaning towards a fuck you. But it's hard to imagine Date actually not, you know. So this is what I was thinking. And it's unfortunate because it's not this route. Could we do something where we switch bodies and then we have Iba explode in Date's eye socket? Because that was the whole thing before and that hasn't come up again. But that's not this route. That was the other route, right? So we never discussed it during this whole side of the story. Well, I'm curious what'll happen, at the very least.
Date, I'm hurt. Don't you care about what happens to her? Do you understand the gravity of this situation? A bomb is strapped to her body.
I'm very curious if it's gonna force me.
You're too stubborn. Or maybe you're just cold-hearted. You want to see what will happen when her flesh burns and tears and scatters?
At this point, I am curious.
If you aren't quick, you'll see the whole thing. You know I'm not bluffing, don't you?
I didn't agree no matter how many times he demanded it of me. I refused again and again. It's probably a bad end, right? Well, it certainly wasn't calling a bluff. I saw it, I understood. Boss's body rolled into the corner of the room. I didn't want to think anymore. Anything. Nothing. I closed my eyes and ran my palm across my face. I could taste blood. Okay. What's the good end, then? Everyone's dead. Like the entire cast. He just went through all of them. No. I don't want to save. Is there a good end there? Okay. Not giving me much of a choice, are ya, game? Well, if... God damn it.
Date!
See? I knew you wouldn't refuse. I know you well, don't I, Date?
You know the game well. Can we have Pewter administer it to make sure that she doesn't just kill me after the fact? Or he doesn't kill me after the fact? We're not going to use the prototype one.
I did it. I did it. I'm back. I got it all back.
Hey, where's Hitomi?
All right. I'll tell you as promised. Boss's house. However, it might be too late by now.
Yeah, I was like,
What?
what are the guarantees anyways? How is this any significantly different?
Why?
Return my body and I'll tell you the location. That's what I said. I didn't lie. I kept my promise.
You bastard!
You're the one who injured that body. It's your own fault, really.
Damn it.
Aiba, help. Aiba, come on. Aiba, do something.
Be seeing you.
Aiba, do something. Thank goodness.
Date, are you alright?
Is this really a better result than the bad end situation? My eyesight was hazy, a heap of broken images. Sweat was building on my palms. Felt like my throat was closing up and I was struggling to breathe. In my ears, the rushing blood of my heartbeat was the only sound.
Everyone's dead.
Shoju, Renju, Iris, Oda, Hitomi. Boss. The flesh remains, but the mind is lost.
I couldn't do anything. Saito had me right where he wanted me. Nothing. Nothing.
Parallel worlds exist.
Oh boy. The word suddenly echoed in my head. I couldn't remember who or where or why. But I thought that if there really was such a world, then me in that world, I is another.
Could I have had a better future?
I prayed that I could. I felt my consciousness sink into a black abyss. Hey, Pewter, you're still around operating all this to make sure that fucking Saito doesn't actually, you know, get anywhere with all this, right? Hopefully. So I suppose number 89's still alive. That's not like a significantly different ending than the other choice, is it? If anything, that's a worse ending, because Saito got the body. And Date's left with, like, a really injured body that's, Mizuki was still alive, right? There would have been a benefit to keeping that body and just, you know, having a nice little family together. Let's just skip this. Shit, man. Annihilation round. Well, that's a happy ending. That's a happy ending for everyone involved. Definitely 100%. I can remember. I might just include this at the end of the next episode. Or at the end of the last episode. Oh, whatever. If I do, then I'll see y'all next time. Drive safely, everyone.